Hey, Wesley, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Winks. Yeah, got you, Winks.
I got you. Thanks, Wesley. First question here, Doug. Your line's open. Go ahead.
Yeah, two questions for me, Coach. First, before they scored in the 7th minute, Chicago created two pretty good chances. Did the team have the focus you want to see, or was Chicago just a little bit better tonight? And can you please share any information on what is going on with Barco? He trained yesterday, but again didn't play tonight, the third consecutive game.
Can you say the last part of your question about Barco, please, Doug? Because there's air conditioning.
Yeah, I think he trained yesterday, but has now missed his third consecutive game.
Okay, so the first part, we were looking to be a little bit more aggressive at the start of the game, similar to the way we were against Dallas. So for whatever reason, that didn't happen. I don't particularly think it was Chicago being better than us. I think we played into their hands and missed opportunities to go forward. So that was really that, and then obviously they got some confidence, they got their goal, and then they started really flowing through us, and then we didn't do well enough to prevent the things that they were good at, that we've shown the group. So as a group we weren't good enough to prevent it. And then in terms of Barco, he did modified training yesterday, so he didn't actually train with a group yesterday. I don't know where that information comes from, that he trained, but he did modified training, try to see how much he could give us, if anything, in the game. And he can't. He's not healthy at the minute. He's still injured, and it's too. The injury means he can't play at the moment. That's as straightforward as it is.
Hey, Glassy, that's my fault. Carlos had told me he did train. Obviously, I didn't get the exact specifics on what he did.
So he's basically he's been. Sometimes he's trained with a team. Then he's done modified training because he was still feeling something. So it's as straightforward as that, and I can't see you to see that you're agreeing with me or not, but that's the facts.
Next question, Felipe. Felipe, your line's open. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Steven, just wondering what you had planned for Emerson Hyndman tonight. He was the most accurate passer at 89%, but he had more recoveries than he had key passes. So what was his role considering the absence of Barco and Rossetto?
I think he was going to be the most advanced of the midfield three, so that was the aim, to get in Emerson where we could. At times, if Eric or Jeff went a little bit higher, we were looking to build with 2 6s rather than a single one, and I don't think that quite worked the way we envisaged it happening. I think we didn't quite get the rotation right, the movement wasn't quite right, and they dictated it a little bit to us, which I think is why Emerson ended up recovering the ball probably more than we would. Not more than we would hope that would be the necessity.
Next question, Joe. Go ahead. Your line's open.
Hey, Glassy. I wanted to ask you, it's kind of a two-parter, but I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on the energy that the team had tonight, because it was always going to be a struggle coming off of, the big energy spend that happened on Wednesday. And then also I just wanted to have you try to explain the difficulty of players having to travel and play a match on the same day.
Yeah, so the first part, I think the players put out a huge amount of energy on Wednesday. You could see by the fact that we were a player short on the bench. We're asking the same group of players to continue to go to the well and put in that workload. I think obviously it's been limited how hard the group have worked within games, I think, before we got in. So that's been a factor. And then you're asking players to keep producing with not much backup because, again, we're a player short. So the turnaround between Wednesday and Sunday took probably more toll than it should have. I think second half we showed that there was still an energy in there. I think it's a little bit of a lack of focus from the group as a whole in the first half. And then, sorry, the travel part, I don't see that it should be an issue. I think other teams have come to us and give us problems. I think so. If we're able to cope with that sort of thing, it's going to be, to me, it's the teams that cope with any struggles that are going on right now, the best, that are going to come out on top this year.
Next question, Sydney. Your line's open. Go ahead.
But Glassy, you kind of hit on it, but I want to ask you, why has it been a struggle away from home for this team? They wound up at Nashville to start the season, but other than that, you've come away with no wins away from home. Why has that been a struggle for this team?
I think when you lose goals as early as we have in first halves away from home, you give yourself an uphill battle. It's pretty straightforward. I think teams have not outplayed us to get their goals. It's been mistakes that are certainly avoidable. And from there, you're feeling a group that's not got a huge confidence at the minute. I think when we get the first goal, they look more confident. But unfortunately, at the moment, the belief in the group at times when we lose the first goal is not quite there. And I just think it's got to change, and it's got to change quick for everyone at the club.
We'll go back to Felipe. Go ahead, your line's open, Felipe.
Thank you. Stephen, what was the game plan for Jimenez, Chicago's central midfielder? He finished, again, with 81 touches tonight, was pretty dominant in that role, and he wasn't dispossessed at all. So there was a struggle there in the middle to kind of contain him, and then the byproduct was the German really having the game of his life so far in MLS.
Yeah, I think we knew that he's a quality playmaker. He sits a little bit deeper. We were hoping that Emerson could get close to him. I think the issues that we're having slightly further back with the movement of their forward players, we weren't getting close enough to him to stop him playing. And then obviously the team almost backed up a little bit, so he had more time on the ball and he's able to pick his passes. Sometimes it can be counterproductive when you sit in more, which I think the group naturally did as well, which should not have happened. We should have went further forward, try to put more pressure on them and believe in what we were doing.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Brad, can you hear me? Give me a quick mic check.
Yep, 1, 2, can you hear me?
Gotcha. Thanks, Brad. Questions here for Brad. Everyone go ahead and raise your hand. I'll get you in. We'll start with Joe Patrick. Joe, your line's open. Go ahead.
Hey, Brad, I just wanted to ask you, in general, how difficult is it to travel and play on the same day? I mean, I know you guys are still just kind of getting used to that routine, and I think it would just help a lot of people understand how difficult it is physically just to play.
Listen, there's no excuses. Other teams have to do it. We need to find a solution. So, you know, it is what it is. It's the way the games are scheduled. It's the way the protocol is going forward. So it's not an excuse. Plain and simple. We have to find a solution to winning games when we're on the road.
Felipe, next question. Go ahead. Your line's open.
Thank you. So I think, I think we all probably noticed, and you did too, during the match, you guys just kind of started to retreat in the first half and really concede a lot of the position and the field to Chicago. Stephen just kind of acknowledged that from your vantage point. What happened? The press was there at the beginning of that first half, but you guys did start to kind of retreat about 35 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can see the space, the gaps between our lines, the space that they had time to run into, time to pass the ball into, time on the ball, time off the ball. You know, we weren't good enough in those areas, and we were getting picked apart. The amount of times they picked the ball up at midfield and ran 30, 40 yards to the top of our box. You know, we didn't have an answer tonight, and I know the manager, you know, is going to back us, but us as players, we need to step up and rise to the challenge. That's not good enough, plain and simple.
Next question, Sydney Hunt. Sydney, go ahead. Your line's open.
Brad, on that second goal, was it just a lack of communication? The guys weren't marking the players they were supposed to mark. Can you take us through what exactly happened on that second goal?
I forget how they actually get the ball in and around our box, but eventually plays a ball through the middle, the top of our box to the striker. He takes a touch. He's got all the time in the world to pick a corner. You know, I haven't seen it back. I think, you know, Fernando at one point was stepping up, but I I was told that somebody else had kept him onside, but we've got to defend when you're 18 yards from goal. We can't be trying to play a guy off sides there. We have to defend. You can't let him. I mean, you look at the amount of times that their strikers got the ball in dangerous areas and had time on the ball with nobody up their backside, nobody kicking them, nobody shoving them off the ball, nobody confronting them. And then you look at our attacking players. We give the ball to our attacking players. We got defenders that are halfway up their back, kicking them into the 10th row, winning the ball, fighting, scrapping. We need to do that. We need to be stronger in the defensive third when the ball goes into attacking players and not give them 2-3 yards of space to pass the ball and also receive the ball.
Anything else for Brad? All right, thanks, guys. Hey, Adam, can you hear me? Give me a mic check.
Yeah, I hear you. Can you guys hear me well enough?
Yeah, I got you. Thanks, Adam.
Okay.
All right, guys, questions here for Adam. We'll start with Doug. Your line is open. Doug, go ahead.
Adam, I'm assuming you must have thought you'd scored 2 goals tonight, if not for Bobby Shuttleworth's right hand.
Yeah, he made some great saves. Just got to tip my hat to him. He did really well holding his ground, and so his weight wasn't shifted. So a lot of times you'll see goalies kind of leaning, and so if you hit it across their weight, they'll have a hard time getting back to save it, and he held his feet really well, so hats off to him. And yeah, I think we had those 2 opportunities, and then Jake had a pretty good chance in the second half there as well. So on a different day, we have a different result, but it didn't happen today.
Next question, Felipe. Go ahead, your line's open.
Thank you, Chris. Adam, I mean, solid performance, and to Doug's point, you probably should have had 2 goals tonight, but what does that say about your form right now, and perhaps the fact that you didn't play a lot under Frank, but clearly you're showing that you can contribute to this team, especially right now when they're without a striker?
Yeah, I think, you know, you always have to have belief in yourself no matter what's happening, no matter what way the results are going. So I've always been good at believing in myself, and I was happy to get 2 good chances today. Unhappy not to score, but, you know, in other games, and especially at this level, sometimes you only get the 1 or 2 chances per game, and it just goes to show you have to capitalize on it. So as a forward, you have to have a short-term memory and move on as quick as possible, because you never know when the next chance will come, and you have to be ready for it.
Sydney, next question. Go ahead, your line's open, Sid.
And I'm glad you kind of talked about, you know, whenever you guys give up that first goal, the belief in the team, the heads kind of drop, the confidence is kind of shot. How does the team recapture that confidence, you know, if you do find yourselves on the back foot throughout matches?
Yeah, I don't know if he already kind of said this, but, you know, in his meeting tonight, and especially after the Nashville game, he said, why does it take us getting scored on to, pick up the intensity and play the way we should have been playing from the start? And, we had the game plan to play in their half the first 10 minutes and play more direct, and we didn't execute it. And that led to an early goal giving up on us. So we can't keep shooting ourselves in the foot. Playing down 1-0, it's tough enough to win as it is. And so we're all really frustrated, and we have to go back to the drawing board and sort it out ourselves.
Next question, Joe Patrick. Joe, your line's up, and go ahead.
Hey, Adam, I think a lot of people were surprised when you got taken off because the team was having success getting up the flanks and then delivering that service into you. Were you just feeling physically exhausted at that point? Did Glassy tell you anything about why he substituted you at that time?
Yeah, I don't know. He felt the change was necessary, and he's the coach, so I respect his decisions. I thought my intensity was higher in the second half, and that one chance that I got that the goalie saved kind of fueled me even more. So I wasn't fatigued. The weather was perfect, and you ask any player, they'll want to play the whole game. So that's how I felt. But I respect his decision, and he's the coach. So, and he brought in Tyler Wolf, and he was dangerous. He played a good ball in the John Gallagher almost for a goal. So I don't question the coach's decision, and we're all on the same team here, and we all want the same thing.
Last question, Doug. Doug, go ahead. Your line's up.
Yeah, Adam, I think the team has given up 6 or 7 goals in the first 15 minutes this season. How does that happen make your job even more difficult?
Well, yeah, it's always hard playing down a goal, and you have to chase the game a lot more, and then you have to take more risks than you would normally at 0-0, and that opens you up for 2-0 result. So it's always difficult to play from behind, and I think it's important to score first in any game. Easier said than done. So, yeah, giving up early goals, we need to fix that.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Adam, for your time. That concludes today's press conference. Thanks again for your patience. Thanks again, Adam.
Thanks, guys. Good night.